Welcome to Weekly Words, where every Wednesday I'll share a short, inspirational, and practical video for parents and educators, because we're all in this together. You see, the problem is the picture in our heads of what we think it's supposed to be. The solution is practicing perspective to understand that we're all supposed to be in this for kids. Instead of judgment, what if together we practice curiosity of teaching, learning, parenting, discipline, curriculum, grades, expectations, and the family unit. You see, things can get pretty noisy along the way. As parents and educators, we sometimes feel stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, and uncertain because kids come with no instructions. Our kids feel that way too. Behavior from all of us is communication, and the goal is to be understanding and empathetic and open to growth as parents and educators. The wave of life can be unforgiving, but we get the opportunity to practice perspective by making this not so perfect world a wonderful place by reaching out and helping each other. Welcome to this edition of Weekly Words. Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's talk about step 4 in our process. What if the student won't comply? You know as well as I know that not every student or every child is going to do everything you ask every single time. We have to be open to opposition because we're dealing with human beings, but there's really great ways we can go about that without causing more issue or more trauma. So here we are, right? We're at home, we're at school, and we're thinking, she's not listening. He won't do what I say. They refuse to get to work. She won't do her chores. She's fighting with her brother all the time. The first thing you need to do is take a huge deep breath and understand that we are not in complete control of our kids at all times. That's just a fact. But you do have control over your awe. You have control over your actions, your words, and your expressions. So what I ask you to do is to go back to step 2 and think to yourself, is he giving me a hard time, or is my child or my student having a hard time? Remember, perspective is so huge. Check your tone, check your expectations, check the student's mood. What's triggering the child at this point? Remember, students who've been traumatized, are misunderstood, and who take frequent detours from what's expected often misinterpret the intentions of others and feel threatened. So depending on how we're talking to a kid, what expectations we have at the time, and the mood of the child truly impacts how they're feeling, and sometimes they're feeling threatened by us, even though we may not mean for them to feel that way at all. So again, we'll talk about relationships with our kids are built in hallways, in lunchroom conversations, through inspirational notes, understanding, compassion, and kindness. And the goal is always to keep a child in your classroom if you are a teacher, if at all possible, because kids who are traumatized, kids who are misunderstood, kids who take frequent detours from what's expected are very accustomed to people giving up on them, and that's definitely what we don't want to do. I want to share with you open to opposition is the O in the ABCs of making every day the greatest day for every child. And what that means is to expect opposition. Find it honorable if a child has attitude with you. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's the truth. There's no need to argue back. Be the one who's in control and realize that the consequence for the child to make it right can happen once the child is calm. Remember, if I am not in learning brain, if I am not um, okay and reasonable and grounded, then I'm not going to gain anything from whatever's happening at that point. Sometimes opposition is a path to growth. Guess what? For the kid and for us. So if you take a look at being open to opposition, looking for a magic wand is the question. It's there if you want to see it. And here's what I mean by that. So many times we want somebody else to take care of the issue with a child, a student in our class, or someone, a child in our home, because they're giving us a hard time, or they're bothering us, or we're really frustrated by their behavior. Well, if you want to have a magic wand, you have one. Truly, here's what it's about. It's not about me. What that means is this child is having a hard time. They're not giving me a hard time. The A in magic is having a positive attitude and always understanding that we're dealing with human beings and we want to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. The G is being open to growth. Really, truly, no matter how old you get, no matter how much experience you have with kids, your own kids, your students, we are always open to growth because we're never ever going to know everything. And it's okay to not understand. The I is there's no I in team. There's people around you who are there to help you, especially when things get tough. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable and not know what to do. And lastly, I think the most important one is C. Search for the cause. Why is the student acting a certain way? Why is my child avoiding a certain task? Think about why so we can go back and problem solve to help figure out and make the situation much more positive for everybody. Thanks so much.